Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Neuroalchemy, a neurosynergy podcast where we explore the intersection of science and soul, the art of becoming, and all the ways that we return to ourselves. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah Young, and here we believe that healing is not only deeply transformational, but also profoundly possible, especially when we honor the whole person through body, mind, energy, emotion, and spirit. Today, I'm joined by someone whose work resonates so beautifully with our family here at Neuroalchemy. She follows a multi-dimensional approach as well. And I'm so excited to introduce you to Denise, Elysa. She is a trauma-informed somatic practitioner, intuitive guide, and teacher who helps people come home to their bodies through presence, compassion, and deep inner healing. What I love about Denise is the honesty in her story. Healing isn't just one moment, one modality, one breakthrough, one thing. It was a decade of micro shifts, layered practices, and a gradual remembering of who she truly is. And I know her wisdom will speak directly to many of you who feel like your healing path has been anything but linear. Denise, we're so grateful that you're here. Let's just dive right in.
Thank you.
So, Denise, for those who are just meeting you for the very first time, how did your healing path begin? Not in one moment, but in the way it slowly unfolded.
Thank you. I had to kind of laugh to myself when you mentioned like that other people's healing is not linear because it's so opposite of what we expect it to be, right? And then you're in it and it's anything but linear. And I think sometimes we get lost in these moments of feeling like there's supposed to be some kind of checklist or some kind of order to things. And that's just, it's not been my experience. It's not what I see in my clients either, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody comes into this work from their own starting point and they go through these like it's more cyclical than it is linear. So, thank you for asking. So for me, I mean, if I go all the way back, my healing journey started as early as like my teens when I hit my first level of really severe hospitalization level
Mm.
burnout. Um, but my story gets deeper when I hit my early 20s, and I had really gone through some profound healing when it came to my mental health by that point. That was something that I created within myself. And then my physical body just collapsed.
Mm.
And I was getting sicker and sicker and becoming really close to bedridden. Um, and I was only in my early 20s and I was losing neurological function. And so, fast forward from there, and I hit remission at 28 years old, or suspected remission. And I was coming back to life, and I was back to hiking, and I was back to some of the things that I really enjoy. And then in my pregnancy, my health declined again
Mm.
and led into like years of decline until I was completely bedridden, unable to eat or speak, reliant on a wheelchair. And yeah, it's been a really wild ride. This last summer, I was like back on a paddleboard and I was traveling again in really small ways and, um, taking continuing education again, which I'm sure you can relate. Like when you're in that healing phase, that's such an intimidating thing to do because your cognitive ability is not there when you're that
Mm-hmm.
sick. And so that in itself is so healing to me to look at that and go, wow, I've just completed this really intensive program and I didn't struggle through it. Like things like that. So our healing like just weaves together in all of these like micro moments and it's really just like 1,000 tiny moments of choosing myself again and again and again, whatever that might look like in that moment. That choice doesn't always look the same. right?
Yeah.
And just following that inner knowing, even when it really scared me. Yeah.
I really resonate with that in my own journey as well. And that's what this whole thing is about. It's that everybody wants a quick fix. They want a
Exactly.
they want a pill for something, or they want you to give them one answer how to fix everything. And for
Yeah,
me in my journey through my own health challenges, um, just like you, it was not just one thing. It was a million tiny things that I
yeah,
chose over that I still choose, right? And for
exactly.
you, it's very much the same.
Yeah.
It's like every day you get a new choice in each moment. So you describe your work as an intuitive somatic transformation. Can you tell our listeners how you might tell them what that looks like, what it feels like?
Yeah. I I'm always so torn with this question of how to put that into like simplified language that somebody can understand when they haven't experienced it, because
Mm,
it is such an experiential practice, right? And I always know when I'm talking to somebody who has experienced it because I don't have to change my language and they just get it and they've already been through it, right?
mm-hmm,
And then you talk to other people who are maybe coming from like more of a talk therapy background or um, like a conventional medicine background, and then maybe they haven't experienced that more embodiment level of healing. And there's this really big disconnection in language. So, the practices that I weave together are intuitive energy healing practices, somatic inquiry, meditation, deep soul inquiry type work. I also weave in for the right client, past life regression, oracle card readings, intuitive guidance, channeling, all of those sorts of things. And so, in a single session, every single session looks different, right? I might
mm-hmm,
have somebody come to me who at first just needs support in landing in their body, like just accessing even a minuscule fraction
mm,
of safety in their body, right?
yeah.
And a lot of people have not experienced safety in their body
Mm-hmm.
in decades, right?
Women especially.
Exactly. And so the way that this work works is that when I blend it together, I can really meet people where they're at through multiple different entry points, depending on what that looks like for them today. Right.
Mm-hmm,
So for one person, I might go deeper into the nervous system and start communicating with their different parts through somatic parts work or emotional repression or um, exploring sensation and pain in the body through a different lens, right? And through that, we can really minimize, like, lessen symptoms. We can create more mobility. We can create more cognitive ability, like lessen some brain fog, things like that, right? We can also explore the different patterns that people are experiencing in their lives. Like, why do they react the way that they react to certain things? And what's no longer serving them moving forward, right? What does this person in front of me need to create the actual tangible and sustainable shifts in their life that they're looking for? And so that question is really difficult to me because every single person who comes to me is going to be coming from a different starting point and they're going to have different goals that they need to shift, right? But the point there is that we can access through the energy field, we can access through the nervous system, we can access through education. We can teach people just like how to slow down, how to create that safety in their bodies. And then from there, we can expand to wherever it is that they're looking to go, right? We're really letting the body lead in all of these sessions.
and that's so important. I really feel in my work that I have seen with people, we're not taught how to be in our bodies very well. We're
Oh,
taught how to focus on
yeah,
everything out there, the
yeah,
job, taking care of this, taking care of that. And if you ask people, like, do you touch your body, not in a weird way, just, you know,
yeah,
massage it, like be present with it, pay attention to it. I would say 9 times out of 10, people say, well, no, why would I do such a thing? Right. And so
yeah,
those practices, they are so important. Um, For
On
our,
that
yeah,
I was just gonna say on that same note, like
yeah,
how many of your listeners right now are ignoring cues from their body, right? Ignoring the fact that they've had to pee for 20 minutes, ignoring the fact that they're thirsty, they're hungry, that like they skipped breakfast this morning because they ran out the door and they just drank a cup of coffee instead and they figured they'd have lunch, but now it's lunchtime and they're pushing that off too because their work is taking up their mind. Do you know what I mean? Like we
absolutely.
have been taught to push through
Mm-hmm.
way beyond our physical body's means, way
Absolutely.
beyond, and to ignore and completely disconnect from like even our most basic of survival needs.
I agree.
It's wild.
It is
It's
absolutely
wild.
wild. Yes, yes. And it's such a mindset shift when individuals start to take those opportunities to really become in tune with themselves. Can you describe maybe a moment for you where a light bulb maybe came on, where you noticed even a little? I know there's probably a million of them, right? Those moments, those shifts, those moments of awareness. Can you describe one or a few for us?
Yeah, to clarify your question, like the light bulb moments where I knew I needed to create change, or the light bulb moments where I was like, oh, this stuff works.
Where you felt that shift inside where something's changed, and I can tell that whatever that thing is that you incorporated, that you did, it mattered.
Yeah, yeah, for sure I can. Um, I'll pick a few and I'll kind of go back in my life and share them in the order that I remember them. But I guess earlier on, when I had just started like learning to meditate, like when I introduced meditation into my life, I couldn't sit with myself for like a second. Okay. It was
Mm,
like so excruciating. I
mm-hmm,
couldn't I couldn't settle my body. I couldn't be present. I was like, I had to actually get like the Headspace app to teach me how to meditate, like step by step, because I was so uncomfortable, right?
mm-hmm,
And it's not just meditation that I added in at that time in my life. I added in energy healing. I added in, um, you know, mindset work and like personal development reading and all sorts of things at that point in my life. So this was a lot earlier on in my journey. And at the time, I was in a relationship that was like a pretty unhealthy situation for me to be in, that I had been carrying for a very long time. I had tried to leave multiple times, and I'm sure I'm not the only person here who's felt that way before. And when I knew that I had really shifted for that period of my life was when I finally left and I was like really put through the ringer in the process of leaving, right? And I remember him coming to me and he was, yelling at me about something. And then he said to me, "You can't leave me because no one else will ever love you again."
mm.
And in that moment, I was like, this is the best decision I've ever made in my life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, wow, thank you for this clarification that
Absolutely.
nothing about this decision I have made is wrong. And the reason that I knew that I had changed in that moment is because previously it would have crushed me, right? I had tried to
Yeah,
leave. I had tried to leave several times, right?
right.
And I never was able to follow through with it. And so he would always like bring me back in with words like that, right?
Yeah.
And in that moment, I just
It,
had this light bulb of, wow, I have changed. I'm way more empowered. I'm way more embodied in my sense of self than I was when I met you or throughout this relationship. And and it was such a mere moment for me to see that change and how much that change had happened, right?
yeah.
Um, hmm. Trying to think of one from like my more recent life. I guess a couple of years ago, I was bedridden from sciatica. So I've been bedbound a few times in my life through chronic Lyme disease, myalgic encephalomyelitis, things like that. But this one in particular, I was actually bedridden because of sciatica. Like, so it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like a whole systemic situation like what I was used to. It
Mm-hmm.
was literally just this one massive, brutal sciatica where I couldn't even get myself to the bathroom by
Mm-hmm.
myself. Like my husband had to stay home from work so that he could just get me up out of bed and to the bathroom and get me food when I needed because I literally could not do that for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been in bed for like a couple of weeks with this, and I had been doing energy work and somatic work on it regularly because what do you do when you have cognitive ability but no physical ability?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So
Mm-hmm.
again, it wasn't like systemic where I was like totally out and couldn't speak, couldn't eat, like nothing. It was my brain was here and intact. My body was not. And so I spent a fair bit of time during those couple of weeks doing energy healing and somatic work on my sciatica and my body in general. Like the layers that come out when you start that are often not even in the part of your body that you're exploring, right? It's all
Mm-hmm.
throughout. And I don't know, 10 days in or something like that, all of a sudden, in the middle of my somatic energy healing work, the pain was gone. Just like that. Just like that, it was gone. And I know that it's not one of those miracle moments. Like, I hate it when people don't disclose the rest of the story. Okay. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this was like 10 days of
Right.
energy work and somatic work. This
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, so that shift that took place in that moment was miraculous. It was profound. It was like incredibly relieving that I could get up out of bed and walk into the living room. Like literally from that morning, my husband getting me out of bed for the bathroom to me walking out to where he was working on foot, going, I think I'm okay. Like, I think I'm fine. And so that moment of just having that complete dissolving of this totally disabling pain to just being up and walking around and just being fine was like that was like miraculous. But
Right.
again, I don't want to ignore the fact that it was like 10 days of work. It wasn't just in that moment, but
Right.
all of these little layers that we heal over
Mm-hmm.
time, they lead up to these big miraculous shifts that feel like they've happened in a single moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm sure that I could come up with so many more, but I want to honor your time.
I love that. You and I both believe that healing is both multidimensional and nonlinear. How do you define healing now after a decade of walking this path?
Healing to me is a coming home to yourself.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is we are welcoming in all of the parts of ourselves that we've abandoned, that we've turned away from, that we've shunned, these parts that still exist within us and often act out in like
Mm-hmm.
not the most supportive ways within us, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a process of it's not about fixing,
Mm.
right?
Right.
It's about listening inward, honoring our capacity, creating, like doing the work to
Mm-hmm.
create these shifts within us that offer us the transformation that we're looking for. But it's not, like you said, it's not a pill that we take that just miraculously shifts everything just like that. It's this slow homecoming and this slow reconnection to your body and this reconnection to self energy, this connection to like the core of who you are, where you feel almost like you're held by this scaffolding around you. Like you can be the
Mm.
calm when the storm is creating chaos around you. And that chaos doesn't have to be inside of you just because it's happening around you. And from this place, we're able to just walk the path that we were designed to walk and set the boundaries that we need to set and be anchored in our true selves in a way that is unshakable. So That's I always really struggle to put this into words because it's such an intangible, experiential
Hmm.
sense, you know?
Yes, absolutely. It's all those tiny moments and they all add up. And all things are like that, right? A journey
Hmm.
starts with
Hmm.
one one step.
I think at the core of it is really knowing who you are,
Mm,
just this unshakable connection to self, because from there, everything just kind of flows differently because you're you're not as concerned about different things that used to concern you. You're not as torn or pulled in multiple different directions because you have this anchor inside of you to come back to that
hmm.
gets to guide every step you take, every choice you make, um, yeah, every commitment you take on, like everything gets to be guided from that. And it's that inner knowing
Yeah,
that really like leads you forward, but also brings you home.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
Mm.
Can you offer maybe one grounded, accessible micro practice that our listeners could maybe start just give it a try today and see how it goes?
I'd love to. Do you want me just to guide it or?
Yeah, yeah, that'd
Yeah,
be
okay.
beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll do something small, something that's really accessible for like most people. And this is really just, you know, to dip your toe in the water, right? But
Yeah.
so I would just invite the listeners to just notice their body in this moment. So if they're sitting or if they're standing, however it is for them in this moment, that's okay. And they may like to place a hand on their chest or on their belly or on their thighs, whatever feels good for them right now. And just taking a moment to notice the connection of their body to the surface that they're on. So, whether that be their feet on the floor or their hips on a chair, maybe their back against a chair or a bed. Just taking a moment to observe that connection. There's no need to change anything or force anything, but just in that observation, just noticing, do you feel like the surface below you is holding you up? Or do you feel like your body is sinking into the surface below you? How connected do you feel to that surface and the way that your body is connected to it at this time? Do you feel the weight of your body or do you feel the sturdiness of what is holding you? And as you allow your body to shift or sink deeper, whatever it's asking to do, just bringing your attention to your breath. Again, there's no need to change anything. We're just observing. Where do you feel your breath the most in this moment? Is it in your nose, your chest, your belly? Is the breath asking for anything at this time? Is it asking to slow, to deepen, to soften? Just allowing it to do whatever it is that it's asking to do at this time. And then just bringing your awareness to anywhere else in your body that feels like it might be calling your attention. Maybe it's a pain, maybe a discomfort, but maybe it's somewhere in your body that feels really good right now. Wherever it might be, whatever that might look like for you, just inviting your gentle awareness to that space. If this space in your body is asking for something that you know of, then you could offer it. And if not, maybe you'd just like to place a hand on it or to breathe into that space. The goal here is just to invite your present awareness to be with this part of your body that has been calling to you. As you're present with this space in your body, I invite you to honor anything that it's asking for at this time, and just to bear witness to this space, to this sensation, allowing it to be there without the need to change anything, without resistance, in the ways that feel safe for you at this time. And when you feel ready, you might like to bring your attention back to your feet on the floor, noticing your connection to the surface below you. Noticing how it feels to be held by whatever surface is holding you now. And inviting yourself, is there something that you could offer yourself that would make you even just 1% more comfortable in this moment? And bringing your gentle awareness back to your breath. Again, just noticing, where do I feel my breath the strongest in this moment? Is it asking for anything of me at this time? And then when you feel ready, gently opening your eyes, taking a gentle scan of the room that you're in, maybe wiggling your fingers and toes, and just allowing a gentle curiosity within you of, is there something my body needs more of? Is there something my body needs less of? And as you allow the curiosity to guide you, just take the information that comes as data. And from there, you can do what you want with it moving forward.
That was so beautiful and powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that with all of
Mm,
us.
you're welcome.
I have a two-part question for you.
Okay.
If someone out there who's listening is feeling exhausted or losing hope what would you want to say to them? And the
Mm,
second one, where can listeners connect with you if they want
okay.
to explore more?
Thank you. So, first, to the people out there who are exhausted, losing hope, you know, I think what I would want to say is that I used to wake up every morning already dreading the day, unsure of how I would even make it through lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was so fatigued. I, and at different times in my life, quite panicked as well. And I truly just lived in this state of drowning. So, what I would say is learn how to heal your nervous system. I would say like there's hope,
Mm-hmm.
there's hope. There's other people who are living this too.
Mm-hmm.
And just because I was living it doesn't mean I'm living it now, doesn't mean I'll never live it again. Do you know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
this is the journey that we're on, and there's absolutely tools that are accessible and things that can be implemented even when, like, for me, I had to start fully bedridden for a lot of these things, right? And
Mm-hmm.
prior to that, my entire coping mechanism was exercise and overworking.
Mm.
So all of a sudden, all of my coping mechanisms had been removed from me, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
what I would want to say is like, if your coping mechanisms have been removed, if you are in this state that you just don't know how you're going to survive it, there are ways through. And it likely takes a more individualized approach
Mm-hmm.
than, what maybe you've experienced thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I could go back and do it all again, I would have shifted. I did like 20 plus years of talk therapy and like got I got a lot smarter, but I didn't get any better, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I would have, that's not to say talk therapy doesn't work for anyone, but in my situation, I would have chosen a body-based approach earlier
Mm-hmm.
and a more trauma-informed nervous system lens approach a lot sooner had I known then what I know now. Yeah. As far as how people can find me, so I have a website. It's my name.com. So it's DeniseElysa.com. That's DeniseElysa.com. I also have a podcast called Coming Home to Ourselves with Denise Elysa. It's on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, Amazon. Um, I'm fairly active on Instagram and like some of the other social media platforms, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, things like that. But Instagram's kind of my main one. And I'm at Denise Elysa on Instagram. But if you go to my website, like literally everything's there. There's a newsletter there with like a monthly free giveaway and all sorts of resources, both free and paid there as well.
Thank you so much for joining us today and for that very special practice that you shared with us live. And it's been such a pleasure having you and such a beautiful reminder um, that we always can return to ourselves, that we're not really broken, right? We're becoming, and we're all in process. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank
And
you for having me here and for hosting such a great podcast. There's such a huge need for resources that are accessible to people when they're just starting out and when they're coming out of a really, really dark place or they're still in that really, really dark place. There's just such a massive need for it. So thank you for what you're doing.
absolutely, and thank you for what you're doing as well. So
Thank
I
you.
I know we're on the same team, you and I, Denise.
Yeah.
And I look forward to connecting in the future.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.